I'd say a lot of the founders we seem to work with don't really want to build their own team. They don't want to be people managers. They want to grow their business.
Welcome to Honest E-Commerce, a podcast dedicated to cutting through the BS and finding actionable advice for online store owners. I'm your host, Chase Clymer, and I believe running a direct-to-consumer brand does not have to be complicated or a guessing game. On this podcast, we interview founders and experts who are putting in the work and creating real results. I also share my own insights from running our top Shopify consultancy, Electric Eye. We cut the fluff in favor of facts to help you grow your e-commerce business. Let's get on with the show. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Honest E-Commerce. Today, I'm welcoming to the show a two-time founder based in the UK. She started her journey as the founder of Kind. Lucy Jeffrey, welcome to the show.
Hi, Chase. Thank you so much for having me on.
I'm excited to chat today. Now, for those that are unfamiliar, can you quickly tell us what types of products you're bringing to market at Kind?
Yeah, sure. So our main hero product are socks that save animals. So we sell bamboo socks and we donate 10% of the profits to save the animal on the sock, linked with over 40 different conservation and rescue charities around the world now.
That's amazing. Now, all right, take me back in time. Like, where did the idea, to save animals come first, or did the sock come first? Like, what was going on? How'd this happen?
Actually, the idea to save animals came first. So socks weren't my first product. So I used to work for a bank. That was my full-time job. And I just wanted to dabble in starting something. And so at the time, my first product was actually reusable straws. So the kind of like metal straws that you get. This was back in 2018. So I started with that as a product, dabbled in a few other things like recycled t-shirts, tote bags. But because of the metal straws, turtles became a bit of a mascot for us because we're like about reducing single-use plastic going into the ocean. There was a video going viral at the time of a turtle with a plastic straw stuck up his nose. And so they became a bit of a mascot, and I wanted to donate back to the turtles. So that's where it came from. But there was still a bit of a tenuous link. There were no turtles on the straw itself. So I was like, you know what? I'll just do a limited edition run of a fun product with turtles on. And that happened to be socks. But my customers loved them and asked me, like, I want to see other animals. I like this idea. Like, I want to donate to bees and penguins, etc. So I then had a bit of a follow-on of the next few designs. And then fast forward, that was like 7 years ago now. We've got like 100 different designs, and the straws are long gone. That was a product that just disappeared after a while. And we've like doubled down in the socks, and that's the main focus of the business.
Now, back when you were selling straws, was it Kind was the brand still?
It was, yeah. It's interesting. We've kept that name, and that came from really, it's Bare as in Bare. It was kind of like back to nature vibe, and kind with the kindness behind it. So we've kind of kept that vibe as we've gone through. I guess it started as a sustainability based brand, and we've kept those values, which are my own core values, as we've gone through. So that's where the brand name has stayed the same. And actually at the time, I remember when I was doing all the branding right at the start, I wanted a name that was like, it didn't tie me to a particular product. I just wanted a name, which is funny that I thought of that like back then. But ultimately, yeah, we're basically Kind socks now. That's what we should probably rebrand it to, but we've just kept it as it is for now.
Absolutely. Now, all right. So walk me through, like, before the pivot into socks, which that's great. And I want to talk more about that pivot and like how, you heard your customers and realized that was worth doubling down in. But like before that, the straw was the first product. How did you go about launching this business? How did you go about getting customers that weren't your friends and family?
Yeah. So the straw started as a dropshipping model. So that I felt like was a very, very easy way to market, that I was just testing it. And again, yeah, as you said, it was friends and family that were kind of my first customers. And then, do you know what? I don't even know where the first customer would have come from, because probably Instagram, because I think that's the only channel I had. I wasn't spending any money on paid marketing. And then suddenly I got a random person buy straws. Possibly I got some good SEO back in the day, because like the metal straw phenomenon wasn't like a massive thing. And I was just kind of riding the early waves of that. And I got my first customer who I didn't know who it was. And I was like, wow, okay, this is good. And then I got a couple more. And then honestly, it was early as that. I was like, oh, there is some traction here. And then I decided, right, I'm going to stop drop shipping, because I really hated it, because it would take 40 days for the order to arrive. It was all wrapped in plastic, which is literally the opposite of what I'm trying to do with the brand. So I went like straight to source and ordered my own inventory. I got it branded with the logo. Then I was able to do my own like fulfillment just from home. So it was still tiny at that point, but that's where I started and got like a little bit of traction, using dropshipping all through Shopify. That's where I started. It's what we're still using now. And then, yeah, that's where it kind of grew from. And it was social media really in those early days is where I was probably boosting posts. I probably wasn't even doing like a proper paid ad strategy. I'd have just been like, yeah, I'll put £5 behind this post. Like it was very, very rudimental at that point.
Do you remember, what like was as you were scaling the paid side of things, like a number that you were scared to like press submit on? You're like, we can't spend this much a day.
No, do you know what? I think I ended up using a freelancer. So before I got to the point where I was thinking I'm spending too much on a particular boosted post, the max I probably got to was like £100. And we had a decent enough Christmas. Like I remember that being the first time we were like, oh, we're actually making like, decent orders, which would have been like maybe max 10 a day, nothing crazy. Then I hired a freelancer. I can't remember where I found him, but he maybe like friend of a friend or somewhere. He was known in the network and he like helped us out a bit. So he might have even done some like basically pro bono work for us to start with. And then we ended up working with him full time. So that would have been when we started actually putting budget behind it on a monthly basis. Still would have been in the hundreds of pounds per month rather than thousands. Like we were super, super tiny. And it wasn't until 2020, obviously a big year for everyone. I'd actually closed the business down for a bit because my mum was doing my shipping. So I was like, right, you can't leave the house. So we'll shut it down for a bit. Had a load of stock. This was stocks at this point. And I didn't know what to do with the business. I didn't know whether to shut it down or what to do. I think that, the whole world was in crisis. I was like, do I stay in my job? Do I quit my job? I've got no idea what to do. I took out a loan, because the UK were doing COVID loans at that point. It was £3,000. And I put all of it into paid marketing on Facebook. And we sold out of all of our stock, like before the end of November. And I remember the October, I made £5,000 revenue. And for me at that point, I was like, wow, this seems like a lot. And so I quit my job, which seems crazy because I'd actually run out of stock. I had no stock during December, which is now we know our biggest month of all. So actually maybe kind of crazy, but yeah, I quit my job. So by the time 2021 came around, I was full time on the business. And we were, consistently spending on ads and growing the business. But yeah, we're also very seasonal. So going into Christmas is great for us, but we're very quiet Q1 to Q3. So also a weird time to quit my job, but I don't know. It was the right decision at the time. And I think after having COVID, it kind of pushed me into that direction because I was like, literally anything could happen. Look at the world right now. I might as well like roll the dice at least once.
Absolutely. All right, let's talk about how you made the decision to pivot. You started with the straws and then the customers really liked the socks. Now, was it like super obvious or did you almost miss that signal? Like kind of walk us through that. I'm sure there are a listener or two out there that are almost at that same kind of crossroads right now.
Yeah, I think it was fairly obvious. The verbatim around the socks was much stronger than the straws. And actually, if you look at like analyzing what was happening with the straws, there wasn't anything particularly unique about them. They were already all over Amazon. We started seeing them in shops everywhere, whether it's like major supermarkets or like Urban Outfitters was one I specifically remember. That's a clothing store here that I remember seeing like the straws in Urban Outfitters thinking, well, they're identical to mine, just a different logo. Like it could even be the same manufacturer. There is nothing unique about these. So I think it was being very honest with the fact that did that product really have legs to be the product that I put it this way. I didn't quit my job for the straws. I quit my job for the socks because I just thought there's something more unique about these. There's a bit more story behind it. I felt like I could build a brand behind it. But yes, the numbers were also telling us that as well. The straws were never strong enough on their own. And so I don't think Yeah, I definitely didn't. After I quit my job, I definitely didn't do any reorders of the straws. We were just kind of selling them through. And it actually got to the point where we couldn't even like give them away. We really needed to, we dropped the price on them. And then it just got to the point where we were just putting them in for free in orders just to kind of clear through the stock because we've been sitting on them for so long. And then we were building a completely different brand.
I have been in business for nearly 20 years, and very few companies I have hired in that time have performed as well as Electric Eye. They have knowledgeable staff, and our project was delivered on time and on budget. Electric Eye has exceeded my expectations, and I look forward to working with them again. That is a direct quote from one of our clients at Electric Eye. Electric Eye is a Shopify Plus partner that has helped over 100 brands migrate, redesign, and optimize their stores since 2016. If you'd like to increase your conversion rate, average order value, and revenue per session, we are the true Shopify experts you've been looking for. Right now, we're offering a free diagnostic to qualified brands that reach out and mention the podcast. Visit electriceye.io today to schedule a call and send us a message. Find out why we have over 50 5-star reviews in the Shopify partner directory. Again, that's electriceye.io, electriceye.io. What if every customer could help grow your brand without you lifting a finger? Social Snowball is the platform that turns word of mouth into a real growth engine for Shopify and TikTok shops. Here's how it works. Every time someone buys from you, Social Snowball can automatically turn that customer into an affiliate, giving them a unique referral link or discount code instantly. They can share it wherever they're already posting. Instagram stories, TikTok videos, YouTube hauls, you name it. You'll be able to track every referral and influencer sale, send commission payouts in 2 clicks, block codes from leaking to coupon sites, automate influencer seeding and gifting, and let affiliates cash out using over 700 payout options. Plus, it works seamlessly with your existing tech stack and channels like Shopify, Klaviyo, PostScript, and your TikTok shop dashboard. The craziest part is they're basically giving away free money. You can launch your affiliate program for free, which shouldn't take longer than a day if you focus, and enjoy a 30-day trial before ever paying for the app. That's right, you can use this software to turn your customers into affiliates for 30 days for free. To take advantage of this offer, go to socialsnowball.io/honest. That's socialsnowball.io/honest. Again, that's socialsnowball.io/honest. Would $1,000 help your business? Portless is giving new customers $1,000 to reinvest back into their business just for getting started. Right now, you are probably paying tariffs on most items in your warehouse before you even make a sale. That means your cash is just sitting there, trapped in inventory that might not even get sold. Not exactly a recipe for growth, right? But what if we told you there's a smarter way? With Portless, you only pay tariffs when an order ships after you've been paid by your customers. That means free up more working capital instantly, turn inventory into cash faster, and completely eliminate the risk of paying tariffs on unsold stock. Here's how it works. Portless helps you ship directly from China to your customers' doorsteps in just 5 to 8 days. Yes, that's exactly what Shein and Temu do, and you can do it too. You get access to your inventory days after manufacturing, keep less stock on hand, and only pay duties on what actually sells. No more guessing games, no more cash flow nightmares, just smarter, faster scaling. And remember, all new Portless customers get $1,000 to reinvest back into their business. Schedule your free strategy call today. Visit portless.com/honest. That's portless.com/honest. One more time, that's portless.com/honest. Shopify makes it easy to sell online, but unlocking streamlined global sales demands more. Don't let high cross-border fees, frustrating payment failures, and complex tax requirements hold back your store's international growth. activate Reach instead. As a merchant of record, Reach helps high-growth brands like yours optimize global sales with local processing and automated tax compliance, all while protecting your store from fraud. Reach is already integrated with Shopify, so you can activate Reach with no extra dev work and start seeing results fast. Brands like Revolve and Everlane trust Reach to boost international approval rates to over 90% and cut cross-border costs by up to 40%. Expanding globally is just the first step. Optimizing performance is where the growth happens. Book a free, no-obligation consultation today and learn how you can level up your global sales at withreach.com/honest. That's withreach.com/honest. withreach.com/honest. Let's be real. Sales tax is a nightmare. You didn't start an e-commerce brand to stay up late Googling tax laws or stressing over whether you filed in the right state. If you're still trying to DIY your sales tax, or worse, using a tool that leaves most of the work on your plate, you need to check out Zamp. Zamp is a fully managed sales tax solution built specifically for e-commerce brands. That means actual experts handle everything: registration, filings, remittances, all of it. Brands like Tushy, Glamnetic, and David are already using Zamp to get sales tax off their plate. Some Zamp customers spend as little as 2 minutes a month thinking about tax. Imagine that. No confusing pricing tiers, no surprise fees, just one flat rate to make the entire mess disappear. And yes, it works seamlessly with Shopify, Amazon, BigCommerce, QuickBooks, and more. So, if you're tired of sales tax headaches and want to stop risking penalties or audits, go to zamp.com/honest and get 3 months free. That's zamp.com/honest. zamp.com/honest. I think that just recognizing that and pivoting is something that's a lot of entrepreneurs need to know. And when people are asking for things and you're ignoring that signal, you really have to take a step back. I think a lot of people get really invested in their first product or first idea when it's maybe not the most profitable or the best business model. Like you said, the straws got super commoditized pretty quickly. And while I think if there's like another competitor in the market with you, if everyone's selling the exact same thing and it's hard to differentiate with a commoditized product like that, it's really an uphill battle, and you could do a lot less work and have way greater results.
Absolutely, yeah. And don't get me wrong, it's still hard and very competitive in the sock industry. Obviously, there's lots of different sock brands. We do have the uniqueness around the kind of donation to charity model. And I think our brand is very strong. People want to support us. A big level up that we found in the brand is when I moved into a more front facing role. So I was obviously always the founder, but I stayed behind the scenes quite a lot. And as soon as I became more the face of the brand, people bought into that a lot more, and supported us because they wanted to support like me. And especially during a time, during COVID, a lot of people wanted to support independent businesses. Also, shopping online was the only way. So that we kind of rode that wave as well. But I think it's really important. The other thing I'd suggest to people, especially in those early days, is be really, really, really close on your numbers. I was basically doing a profit and loss like every single day, like in my Excel, because I was just really trying to understand the numbers and our cost of goods and our fulfillment costs and everything. It was a nasty spreadsheet that I could never have kept up long term because it wasn't sustainable because it was so much work. But in those early days, it was really helpful for me to see on a daily basis, exactly what was happening in our business. We couldn't do it now because there's just too many transactions going on. But that's ultimately what our accountants and bookkeepers then need to provide for us more on a monthly and quarterly basis. But at that point, I was doing it daily, and it allowed me to make really easy decisions.
Yeah, I mean, 2 pieces of gold advice there. One being people want to buy from people, not from faceless entities.
Yeah.
And I can go back almost every episode on this thing. It's, it comes up, and it's when people want to hear from me, it moves the needle a bit, either an email or a video or some sort of social post that comes out from the founder. It works. That's fantastic. Now, you mentioned something a little bit ago that I want to kind of go back to, which is that you're a heavily Q4 brand, just socks and gifting, and it plays in with your brand. But you had now like a strategy to kind of help flatten that curve, that you're now truly one of the subject matter experts in that space. Talk to me a bit more about that strategy.
Yeah. So to give some context, about 70% of our revenue comes in Q4, so when we're in Q4, it's amazing. It's a good time. And then we have to really, really be careful on cash flow through the rest of the year, because we come out of Q4. One, we have a VAT return coming up for Q4. So 20% of our revenue is going to come out in the next quarter, plus all of our fulfillment costs. And, we then have to restock after Christmas. And then basically our cash balance just goes down and down and down until it starts hitting Christmas again. So it's quite a tricky one to manage being a product-based business, because we have inventory to buy. But a massive player came into the UK market in 2021, called Faire, which is like a B2B marketplace, basically for independent brands like me selling to independent retailers. They were already in America, but they came into the UK, and we were an early adopter of the platform, and we did really, really well through it. So we had a massive amount of growth in those early days. And it's really helped flatten out that cash flow through the year, so we can be a bit more sustainable, because these retailers it's still a gifting product with the socks, but because these retailers have got kind of consistent footfall, and it's quite an easy purchase, like it's a nice pair of socks, it's £10 a pair. So I think they do quite well consistently. Whereas for us, it's just all of our B2C traffic is during Q4. So we grew really quickly on that platform, and it's really helped us to have a more sustainable cash flow, like through the year. And yeah, as you said, as a result, we started sharing more. Actually, the reason we started sharing videos about Faire online is because we were trying to get more retailers to purchase our socks. So the actual reason for us sharing videos was for me coming on camera to build trust with like new retailers and explain what Faire is, because they'd never heard of it at this point. We were coming in saying, hey, you're new to us. We're a new brand. Here's some new products that we're telling you should buy through a platform that you've never heard of. Here's some offers and incentives and all of this. And a lot of them were like, I just don't understand what's going on. How do I use this? Retailers can be a bit traditional in that vein. They like the trade shows and buying directly from the brand. So we were coming on camera talking about Faire and explaining what it was. And as a result, we started getting a lot of other brands coming to us saying, wow, you're doing really well on Faire. Can you tell how, can you teach us that? So then we started doing explainer videos. And then that's kind of grown off and into a complete spin-off. And now it's a completely separate business that we're kind of growing alongside Bearkind, because Bearkind's still doing well on Faire. So we're growing that, but we're also sharing advice online for people that want to do what we've done, basically.
Absolutely. No, and it goes back to people will start asking you for things, and those opportunities will come your way if it resonates with the market. And the market Faire was new, especially in the UK, and people, it's business advice 101. Pay someone that's done it before to help you do it. It's the best shortcut in the world.
Yeah, exactly. And we've really found that they started asking us for it. They were telling us what they wanted. And that's when it's this whole thing of pivoting. We were still a very seasonal brand, and we saw this as an opportunity. So we started off selling like templates and things to help brands on Faire. So things like SEO optimization, that kind of thing. So we started automating processes by selling templates. So we were doing digital products. Then we were kind of like consulting a bit, but now we've got basically a full service agency. So we've got clients who are product brands just like Bearkind that come to us, and we run their Faire account for them on a monthly basis. And as a product business owner looking at a service business, I'm like, wow, look at all that juicy profit because it's a service business. And obviously it's a lot of time and work, but we'd already built a team. Like we have an amazing team behind Bearkind that was too big and too expensive most of the year until we get into Christmas. So the pivot here was about how can we sustain our team and keep this going, because we think we're onto something. And, basically we've kind of outsourced our team to help on other brands as well as Bearkind. So Bearkind's basically become a client of ours that plugs in. So it was just another way to flatten that revenue curve so we could keep selling socks and then wait for Christmas, basically.
No, absolutely. But it's also, it's ingenious. You developed that IP internally for the brand. You saw the value there. There were founders off of YouTube videos saying, take my money and help me, please.
Yeah.
And just being open to that idea and pivoting again and building almost an entirely separate business, as you said, not even something in tandem, to run that for you. That's amazing. And I'm sure that there are, I think a lot of founders, like their first business isn't the business that makes the mark. There's something they learn in that business, or they identify a gap in the market, and all those things that you learn as an entrepreneur and building a business are transferable. Your first idea, maybe not the best idea, but like the knowledge is so powerful. You don't need to go to college if you want an MBA, just start a business.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we're definitely seeing that, because the clients that we take on board, a lot of them are just us, but like 5 years ago, or they're, just very, very overwhelmed founders. They feel like they don't have the time to go after various opportunities. So I run the business with my husband now, and we have done for the last 2 or 3 years. And we have got a really strong team that we've built. And him in particular is very good at people management. So we've got this awesome little team that we're building. I'd say a lot of the founders we seem to work with don't really want to build their own team. They don't want to be people managers. They want to grow their business. Mm-hmm. So we're basically saying, well, let us do the people management side of it for you. And so the beauty of this model is they come to us because of Faire, because they've Googled how to use Faire and how to do better. They find us on YouTube. And then they trust us because we're on camera all the time talking about how we've done it for our own business. So we're not salespeople, we're business owners. So they come to us, and then a lot of the clients end up doing other activities with us, whether it's their Shopify website or paid ads, because, we're already doing it for our own business. So we say, sure, if you need design help, we have a designer already in our team. So it's a really cool model. I'm very excited for it. We are in the early days of it. We're about a year in. But it's very exciting.
That's amazing, Lucy. Now, I do want to pivot back to the socks a bit. If I'm listening to this show and I'm like, you know what, I have cold feet and I like animals, where should I go to pick up a pair? Yeah,
so bearkind.com is where you should go. That's our own website. And as I said, we're on Faire. So if you've got a shop and you think it's something you'd like to stock, we sell through that predominantly. Absolutely. We've got, we're actually doing our Christmas order right now, like putting in all the different like designs and animals that we're going to have coming this year. So we've got a lot of new ones coming, which is exciting.
Absolutely. And then if I am curious to learn more about, well, one, plug the YouTube channel here, and then two, plug the Faire wholesale agency.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's all called Candid Founders. That's where we started. And the reason behind that is because it's literally just us trying to be as honest as founders as possible. So if you go to Candid Founders on YouTube, that's where you'll have, honestly, we've definitely got the biggest database of Faire guidance videos online now, anywhere, because we're so early to it. And we do know what we're talking about. So if you need advice, or if you're thinking about Faire, just start with the YouTube. There's so much advice on there. And then you can find us at candidfounders.com. You can book a discovery call with us. You speak directly with us, or drop us an email at hello@candidfounders.com. We work with brands all over the place. Actually, most of our clients are based in America as well, because Faire's so big out there. So please do get in touch if you need some help.
Awesome. Lucy, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
We can't thank our guests enough for coming on the show and sharing their knowledge and journey with us. We've got a lot to think about and potentially add into our own businesses. You can find all the links in the show notes. You can subscribe to the newsletter at honestecommerce.co to get each episode delivered right into your inbox. If you're enjoying this content, consider leaving a review on iTunes. That really helps us out. Lastly, if you're a store owner looking for an amazing partner to help you get your Shopify store to the next level, reach out to Electric Eye at electriceye.io/connect. Until next time.